On 120th. Whoa!
Which accent do you have?
Brain just falling out of head. Let me pick it up off the ground. One moment.
Dust it off. 2-second roll.
2 second roll. So welcome everyone to the 120th live stream. Today we have very special guests with us. Alley Claw.
By which you mean usual people.
Yeah. Well, they're special still.
Aww.
Especially in our own way. Good or
Very.
bad, decided yet. But hi, it's Alley Claw.
There's also a Fluffy's Eye.
Hello, all the way from Britain land.
And also from Britain land, we have Cute Pencil Case.
This is originally from Portugal land.
And me. Hi.
Me.
Me. From the land of maple syrup and ice. Hi.
This is Zom Zom.
How's it
The
going?
great and
The
powerful.
very zombie. The most zombieing in a zombie. Pretend that was a word.
Listen,
The-
this was a hug. Maybe your brains go a little missing, but you know, just mostly the hug.
Hey, at least I don't want you for your body. I want you for your mind.
Q pencil cases from everywhere that fluff exists, she says.
That makes
You
sense.
know what? That's a fair assumption.
That is the truth.
All right, so
And
we have this picture provided by who was it? I think it was George.
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 I hear George is pretty nice.
It was also Fluffy's Eye, so we'll go with him. Hey, Fluffy's Eye,
Oh, okay.
hello.
you got questions about your picture here?
Yes, he is very sleepy. So I can't remember what I put in the thing, so I'm just gonna try and remember again. I'm trying to figure out the leg. This raised leg is really terrible, and I am bad at doing these legs in these positions. I think just basically anytime the legs sort of break pony anatomy and go into human anatomy is when I struggle. So trying to figure that out would be super big help, and also just trying to, I don't know, there's something about this picture. It's not terrible, but like there's something that I just can't get to work with it, and I just feel like I want to put more life into the posing. So maybe I need to do some thumbnailing. I don't know. I'm trying to draw sleepy ponies, and you think being super tired at the time would help me do that,
Pretty good
but
reference.
it didn't really. And it's really hard to look up references as well. You search like sleepy characters or like tired eyes rubbing or something like that, and it's just like there's nothing relevant.
I think
Yeah, it's like I think the hardest part for me would be like the fist, because when you think of someone rubbing their eyes, it's usually in the fist when they do.
Yeah. But like I did try. I will say I did try to do the like sort of open hoof against the face, but I didn't really like that very much. It just kind of looked like he was face palming himself.
Yeah,
Please,
that's
I think-
what I was thinking the struggle would be. Like, I kind of like how you interpret it in your, like, light blue back here. Super curled hoof. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think it needs to be perfect anatomy. I just think
Yeah,
it needs to
it's
be,
it's really just this area that I struggle with. This leg. Who am I echoing through? I will see. Oh, it's LD.
that was
Face
through the
screen.
headphones.
Oh, my god. That's, there's some loud headphones.
Hi, Strato Girl.
Yay! Strato.
Hmm.
The draw kind. So yes, I mean, I tried, of course, doing the actual pose. I mean, I was probably doing it most of the time while I was drawing this anyway. But like actually, like rubbing my hand, like I feel like you kind of stick the elbow out a bit more, but I wouldn't be able to get it forward, like if it was going up in front of him and then back to the face, without having like the open hoof, which I did try, and it didn't really work that well. So that's why I'm going for sort of to the side, sleepy rubbing, like when you curl up your fist.
So, like, trying to think. I think it's gonna benefit if you make it, like, more noodly than anatomy. Because, like, this arm right here
Yeah.
feels super noodly,
That
which
is
works. It
something I
works,
was
like-
crossed my mind, but like I wasn't sure if that was okay or not.
I think anything's okay, really. It's like thinking about priorities. Like I know I said this to you before, but sometimes it's like prioritizing the expression over, you know, what is actually correct. Just like an animation, like horses cannot do half the things that they do in My Little Pony.
Hmm.
So you break the rules, you
What?
make things work. What is more important? The fact that you get across maybe like a humanistic characteristic or like motion, or that they're always, only can move the same way that horses' joints can move.
Yeah, it's. I mean, that's basically the principle of the show. That it's much more important to just be expressive than to be accurate, and why they're allowed to break anatomy sometimes. Now he's just
Yeah.
picking his nose. What am I doing?
That sounded evil.
I'll just be over here.
But I mean, I can find like references of like the characters yawning and stuff. I just kind of wanted that like really sleepy, like struggling to keep eyes open kind of thing.
Like, I think you could.
Could. Oh, that's nice.
Just like I think you just need a little elbow dip, and the rest can be kind of faked from there.
Yeah. Just to get it real noodly.
Noodle caboodle. You get the color.
Draw pile is so weird with the colors, man. Whenever I switch, it like doesn't bring the color back. It's weird. Yeah, that is. Yeah, I think bring it further back behind the body. That looks sort of what you've done here.
And the pink.
Yeah. So that could work as well, rather than trying to bring it forward. Because I mean, he is kind of like tucking his leg in. There's a.
Like when I go to rub my eyes, I find my elbow being tucked in rather than going out.
All right.
Like when I naturally reach up to my face.
Right now, I'm sort of got my arm like actually tucked right up against my body, and I think that's why I'm doing it too. Mostly because my microphone is to my left, right next to my arm, so I don't want to hit it. But it's also, I think sometimes that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess that could work. But it's sort of trying to again, that's sort of with the palms. It's sort of how to make that appear. I don't know.
I think the most, like, I know I've said this to you before, but don't overthink it. This is for a sticker, right? This is for
Yeah. I mean, I would just finish this right now or leave it for the sticker, but it's more because of the practice in trying to figure out, like, because I'm struggling with it basically, is why I want to try harder to get figure it out, because then it's experience and I can then have an easier time figuring stuff out in the future.
Totally understand.
All right.
I think that's. What is this over here? Oh, it's a tail. Okay. Like, does he have like a piercing now? The mouse tail. Yeah, I think that helps. I think I really like how you sort of moved it backwards a little bit. That looks much nicer already. So he's lifted it up a bit more. But I think it also looked a bit too long.
No. Yeah, I guess, like, especially when you have this direct comparison.
Yeah. I also struggled trying to get that leg to actually, like, I didn't know what I wanted to do with it. Because I felt like you needed to have both legs up, which is sort of what I was doing here. But I didn't really know what. It's kind of an abstract thing. Yeah, you know, it's a direct action with the left leg, but the right one's got a little bit more of an abstract use, I guess, purpose.
All right, on to the next picture.
Yes. Thank
Awesome.
you very much.
That it's what we do out here. Nobody's gonna post a picture to review. We have a few. There's quite a few. A few of horses. So let's start at the top left-hand corner then. Just a reminder, if anyone wants any pictures critiqued, please submit them at any time.
No, wait. Critiquing this picture will trigger the status effect Super Fluff, cast by Case's happiness fluff spell. Well, we'll just have to persevere anyway. It's what we do. So, did they leave any questions, or are they here?
Sorry, I was just nerding out a little bit. That's fine.
Okay.
I've been practicing. How am I doing? And this is by Risen Warrior. They have Risen as a warrior. That is all they have.
So, I guess my first major question is, I'm assuming it's Philly because of the proportions.
I kind of got stallion, but I might be wrong. Who
Foal?
knows?
Foal? You mean? Like a small,
Yeah,
small
full.
horse?
Oh, right, yes.
I always say Philly for younger ponies, no matter who.
Poor
It's
That's
just
horses.
fine.
stuck in my head. I'm terribly sorry.
They might get
My
over it.
tablet- Yeah, no, that works. Yeah, it does sort of look like a younger pony. My tablet has stopped working. That is not
No.
fun.
I'm gonna
I'm
go
gonna-
little colt because of the muzzle shape and the eyes.
Yeah,
Mhm.
that's what made me think. Oh yeah, I have tablet again.
Yay! Ignore my lines because they're bad. Someone's not swooshing.
Swishy swish. So I guess I'll quick say something like I'm drawing in green right now, and so one of the things to keep in mind for these little guys is that their bodies are a lot smaller. It's the same idea. You can have like the three circles, but your circles are much more squished together. Kind of have I have this huge overlap section here. Their bodies are much more condensed. Like I know if you look at like the Cutie Mark Crusaders or any other kind of young pony character in the show, they have a little bit more condensed body going on because their head is the biggest part of them because they're literally two heads tall, so their body's one head and their head's another head, so the body is very small compared to their head, so that's something to keep in mind.
All right.
Yeah.
My few bits of critique here is so I've drawn the head circle. That's that red circle there, and that's just a reference that we like to lay down just to get an idea of what's going on here. Your head's laid out just fine. I would just say don't forget the other ear because it's going to show up there, and try and smooth out the points on your hooves and legs.
Sand down those hooves.
Yeah.
Oh, no. That'd be painful.
You just want to like with some sandpaper and it'll be great. The reason why horses aren't pokey. They're like living marshmallow creatures, soft and rounded and cute and adorable and kind of tasty.
Hard.
Well, I'm a zombie. I get to
Remember,
eat
he's a
different
zombie.
creatures. Yeah, don't be afraid of rounding out those edges.
It's kind of one of the big characteristics of the character design of the show is to make these ponies very like smooth and round and cuddly, and those big eyes to make them cute and all those other fun facets.
Fluffy?
Yeah, so a couple of things. I mean, just sort of straightening up the muzzle, making it. You want to have like a little bit of overlap, particularly from this angle, because just look at sort of how the muzzles and chins work. Although that's not essentially, it's not essential. It's just it really does help to make the faces look a bit nicer. The ear, I think, going with your expression, they look very solemn and melancholy. So the ear really would be dipped downwards. You don't have to do that again, but that really helps to give that expression. He looks much more sad now with the ear down, which is not what we want. We want ponies to be happy, but if we need to draw them sad, then draw them sad. Although if you did want to have it up, then bear in mind the ear joint is sort of around here, sort of behind the temple area, so it would kind of be like around this sort of way. But yeah, I would recommend going down like that. I also sort of fluffed up the mane a little bit. Don't be afraid to go messy. Like you don't really want this when you can sort of have lots of overlap, have little strands, things coming out from behind one another, because then it just looks a lot more full. And it looks more like natural hair because it's a clump of messy, scruffy pony hair. And I mean, it sort of gives me the impression of sort of scruffy hair anyway, just from the style that you've drawn. But you can sort of dial it to the amount that makes sense for you, for the character. Other thing was just like the wings. I think they were coming in backwards. I might be wrong. Ali Cora is our resident wing expert, I think. wing aficionado.
They do look like they're like with the curve they have here. It kind of looks like they're coming up instead of
Yeah,
down. So
when assuming that they are folded at the body, which it looks like they are, it the you got essentially. I don't know if it's actually at like the shoulder or like, but it's sort of at the like a back shoulder. But like, think of it like that sort of joint, and then you got like a because it's basically sort of an arm, really. But
Yeah.
bird wings are pretty arm-like if you break down the actual joints, and then that's gonna be tucked in, going behind the body like this.
looks lovely. Little fluffy, little pony
Mm.
wings.
Otherwise, I think you've got a lot of it pretty well done.
Yeah. Good job. Can't wait to see more.
Totes, do more art. This is how you improve.
Yeah.
More. Hate
More
horses.
art. More art.
All right, let's move towards the right.
So when do we tell them that we're actually secretly powered by all the art they made?
Well, don't admit it.
You secretly consume it. Oh, I mean that didn't
And
happen.
what?
So
We
next,
don't need sponsors. We just need art.
yeah, looking at you, sponsor. If you didn't sponsor us,
So,
but there was some sales. Nothing really good. Good sales. So yeah, this picture is by Flying. I drew this. Is there anything I can learn? Is there anything I can learn from? Well, quite a bit you could learn from, like books and trees and teachers and other horses, and really just anything. But for this picture, yeah, we can give you some critique. First question is, what is going on with the box pony? Just,
Yeah, what is this?
it looks like a cardboard box because we can see the bottom of a jaw.
Except that I don't know if his eye is painted on the box. Like they just have a permanent angry scowl that's just actually just disguised on the box. If it is the eye, you should probably have like a cut here, a little hole for them to see out of.
Maybe
Because it's very. I mean, if you want to do it this way, that's fine. It's just it's a very cartoony thing to have like the eye specifically show up with like nothing like around it.
their mother
They've
was
done it in
a
MLP before, though, so.
maybe the mother was a Minecraft character and the father was a horse.
No, it's Pony and the companion cube.
oh my god.
We have gone like full nuclear fandom. Anyway, so it's an interesting piece you got here. You're clearly trying to tell a scene. I can see you've been experimenting with the poses here. You had like a leg you didn't like and decided to change that. That's really neat to see. I'm we were sort of like mystified of the context of this picture looking at it. But I don't think it's very bad. I think you've done a good job with it. And the biggest thing I would suggest, I was sort of messing around just for fun with it when we started the critique. But yeah, the magic doesn't really look too much like a blast. You look at any sort of like anime where they have this trope, any show, any movie where it's got like the dueling kamehamehas, you know, they're gonna splash off each other. You've got this force, this wall of force blasting straight this way against another wall of force, and that's gonna create this here, where these powers are sort of contrasting against one another. You want to stretch it out, like really think of like the speed of this magic. So like, look at the beams in MLP. In fact, yeah, we've got plenty of reference where Twilight's shot like a laser and it's like blasted against another laser or against an object. Yeah, exactly. And you can see, I'm pretty sure, I don't know if she did it while dueling Starlight as well, but stuff like that where you can see how the beams like shoot off of one another. In fact, I am gonna do something and just find a reference real quick. I don't know what to search for, but I'll try.
Something I would suggest is adding more action to them fighting. Clearly they're angry at each other. Clearly they're shooting magic. So much so that there's gonna be a huge boom.
Oh, here's a
Have them lean into each other, like this little green head I drew over here. The horns pointing at each other, you know, like have that flow from the horns to them. They're putting all their effort, like clenching teeth, angry faces. This is a showdown. So like having them position themselves to have their weapon facing each other, the horns, the magic, could really help to amplify the like tension between the two because they're both shoving their weapons forward before anything else.
Yeah, definitely. I agree. Like, again, anytime you see them doing this in the show, they lean straight forward as they shoot it out because it really makes sense. You know, they're going to be dueling. They're going to be shooting their horns forward. Like Ali said, that's the more sensible pose, and it really and more than anything else, it shows life in that posing. It really shows what they're doing. They're not just standing in a place, just kind of absent-mindedly shooting a laser. You know, they're going to be throwing their full force into it. And Cute Penscase is doing a lovely bit of posing down here, having them asymmetrical as well. That's a great idea.
Yeah.
And you know, where she's got one of them standing up and one of them crouching down, that really gives a nice bit of emphasis there. And I found a good reference. I'm pretty sure this episode had a lot of good beam combating references in it. Shadow play.
Only a small part of that image. Oh, you just okay. Yes. Yeah. Don't worry about it. I'm just brain only 4.5% operational.
Yeah, see? I mean, it was a GIF that I screenshotted, but you can see if you look at the GIFs and look at the actual animation in the show, the beams. You can see that the way they animate them is really good, and they have this just stream of energy. It's not just like a pink column. You can see the energy flowing from one point to another, and I can't seem to undo pasting that image now.
It's fine.
That's fine.
So I think
it's on layer 1, so it's all good.
I think just to reiterate what has been said, go grab your references. Don't be afraid of those references. Go eat them up. This is going to be a lot of work. We're going to need you to watch more episodes of My Little Pony.
Yeah, you're just going to have to go watch MLP.
It's going to suck. I know.
Terrible.
I know. The things we make you do as an artist. But go watch those MLP episodes and sketch in them. Pause them and be like, I like this. I'm going to sketch this. Be like, why does it do this? Cool. And when you're all done, you'll have a horse beaming battle.
Oh, and by the way, what I used to search for reference was I went on Derpy Borrow and searched Magic Beam, and that's just giving me all the references I need. And geez, I forgot just how freaking epic the beam she shoots T-Rex with is. I finally got to a gif of that, and it's just like, oh my god. Such colors, and you can just really see like how they animated it. So that's a super good reference to use. You got all the wind effects blasting off, and just it's amazing. They do it so well in the show.
Right.
So eat it up, because you know they put so much effort into it.
Let's go on to the next one.
Also, I love your beams and lightning crackles there, CPC. Very good.
I invaded and drew the green one.
Ah, okay.
I'm evil.
So the next picture beneath all this, it is done by Fruitiz. Fruitiz returned again. Fruitiz. It is. I just finished the sketch, and I'm really proud of it. Coincidentally, it goes with the weekly theme, which is End of the World.
Oh my gosh, that's
Zamzam,
extreme.
what did you do this time?
Is that the last theme ever?
That makes a lot of sense because it seems I've been told I am everywhere around here.
The apocalypse is always the final theme of anything. So yeah, I must say, this is something that I really am not courageous enough to do usually. I love that you've just taken the initiative to just make this entire scene. You've got perspective here, you got the background, and you got like the characters in the foreground who are very well drawn to the attention of the viewer. And it's really good that you've tried to do this scene with stuff happening and like characters with props and outfits, and that's really cool. Nice job with that. I'm glad to see that, and I hope you don't start being afraid of trying stuff like this. So yeah.
Yeah.
I think you've done a. Oh, sorry, Annie.
I was just gonna agree pretty much. Like, I had the word I was gonna use, but I can't remember it now. But either way, it's really great to see you push yourself to do a multi-character piece, like a full crowd, because that's really hard to accomplish.
I think you've done a really good job trying to interpret how they hold the weapons, because that is a very hard thing to do. And yes, sometimes in the show they just have to like wrap their hoof around something in a way that doesn't look like a hoof should do. And I do like that you've done this one like, oh, okay, she's just gonna sort of be like holstering it up, like resting on the hoof rather than actually like gripping it. That's a pretty neat way of interpreting it, like resting on the shoulder and everything. I think you've done a good job of that, because that's very like ponies holding things can be very tricky, and it just makes posing even more complicated. Let's say maybe since this pony has his leg raised, maybe you could try spacing out his legs a little bit, cover that center of gravity a little bit. because he's got a big hole here where his weight is leaning and no support. So while LD is fixing up that hoof, we can see what happens if we broaden his legs a little bit. Just widen the stance. Just for the sake of balance. It must be hard being ponies when you need to use that hoof, third hoof,
Yeah.
for holding.
And this is
I
where
am
all the
terrible at this.
unicorns laugh from their high mountain.
Porn envy. It's a thing.
Hey,
There we go.
Now, I'm an
Now that
alligator.
Alec knows, we're good.
hey, Shadowkick, you still have time to draw End of the World. It's a week away. That's what I hear. Something like that.
It's the end of the world because the Trump said so.
Also, who gave these ponies guns and axes? It's like not safe.
I think
They're cute little ponies.
they're Nerf guns and Nerf axes.
Oh, okay.
Don't worry.
Axes.
They exist. They're
It's
foam
like-
axes.
It's like
Water guns.
it's what it is. It's like those power hammers, the block hammers.
Ah!
So it's actually just like an edge that kind of like presses in and it squeaks.
Squeak!
But yeah. I just noticed there's like a crossbow or something here,
Mm-hmm.
or a gun or
Very
something.
nice perspective attempt there. That's all right.
Yeah, this pony in the back. This poor zombie. He's just so scared. Ah!
But actually, that makes me think of like, so I'm looking at the flow of this piece, and basically what my eyes want to do first is follow in to where their eyes are, but then this arrow here makes me want to look directly back. Now, it's awesome that you have a flow like that, but also the one negative side is that there is like this is all dead space.
Yeah.
Nothing's going on here. Now, there's a little road. There's two little roads. Maybe define them more. Add some things to them. Maybe like posts or sign. Like you have one lamppost. You know, usually streets have a slew of lampposts going through. Just something to really add. I know you already have
That was
so
good.
many
That was good
zombies.
CPP.
Yeah. I know you have so many zombies already, and like this is going to be end of the world scenario. Ooh. Yeah, I like that idea. Where it's just one big road to them that
Yeah.
feels
Then that really
very, like-
helps to draw the perspective a bit more.
Yeah.
Could have more buildings over here. How about one L-shaped building so it's not all squares?
Mm-hmm.
Dumb squares. You
You
got
could have like a broken chain fence or something, or
I'm gonna just tilt my hand on the because I can't remember the combination keys to rotate the canvas. It's-
Up, up,
I mean, put
down, down, left, right, BA.
you got some detailing going on in the building, like there's a fence on top of it. I don't know if this roof is meant to be tilted. Maybe it is, because looking at the rest of the picture, I don't think you just like made a mistake there, because when you got this one right behind it, it looks like you got the perspective pretty well. So I see this roof being tilted, but maybe not, because this goes up this way. So not sure what you're trying to do with that, but just let you know, it does look like it's going straight down to the ground. So if that wasn't your intention, then that's fine. You know, perspective can be hard. You can just do this.
I mean, just keep pushing yourself and practicing like this. You're gonna be so like on key with this kind of stuff in no time.
What else do rooftops have? They have those like vent things.
Oh yeah, the little vent things and like
You can have like a little light over the door.
like any kind of apocalypse themed junk you see. Like you could see. Okay, well they're ponies, but I was gonna say like broken down cars, but maybe like broken down wagons. or
Yeah,
something,
Broken
know?
wagons.
Yeah.
That could work. I'm just being silly with this building right here. See, it's fun to just sort of don't go full into like sketching straight away. So what I'm doing right now is just kind of messing around. I'm experimenting with ideas, and then that helps you decide what to do when you actually do go through sketching fully. So you're spending less time on trying to figure things out, distracting you from the sketching, and more time actually drawing what you already know you're trying to draw. So that helps
Mhm.
get your focus in.
And I know this all may be overwhelming because there are a lot of elements going on. Like we've said, you've done awesome with putting so many
Yeah.
like zombies in. It doesn't feel empty. It really does feel like there's a group. And now we're asking you to add even more things.
Yeah.
But
We love that we started the streams. Like we love that you've done all this stuff. Do more.
yeah, more.
But,
See, but you can break it down
yeah,
to be
yeah.
a bit more, handleable just because all the small details by doing a thumbnail sketch. Like, say here we have our foreground, well, not even our foreground. This is probably our midground since the crate here in your corner is actually your foreground. So you got the little crate there. It's chilling in the foreground. Maybe you could have like, I don't know, the one of
Mm.
the vents that they have on top of buildings.
Yeah.
And then you got your ponies. I'll just signify them with little circles, the ponies. And they don't even have to be like this. This is pretty like not complicated, nothing really high detail. I extended my canvas a bit because I wanted to. It's like everything is on your side to play around with.
Yeah.
And now it's like, okay, we're gonna have like a bunch of zombies here, and there'll be a building over here, and more zombies coming around, and there'll be a city in the back.
Mm.
Cityscape. Like this is so rough, and
Yeah.
like how CPC added like a giant road at like leading up to them to even push that further. And you could be like, oh, there's fences along here and maybe a light post going,
Mm.
closer and closer to
Yeah.
them. Just
And
play around and plan it out with like as little detail as possible.
And I don't think you need to I don't think you need to put any more detail on the city in the background. You can do that as like a minimalistic thing, and that usually works pretty well for these sort of buildings. So don't worry about, oh, I've got to like add balconies and like make this look like an actual building. Oh, there should be like an ad sign here. Don't
Yeah.
worry about that because that's fine. This is sort of a border at the top of the image here, because we don't really need it. We want our eyes down here, so
Yeah.
it's totally fine to leave that kind of minimalistic.
What's the rule? Darker the farther away it is?
Yeah, and you could do that as well. You could sort of have like a gradient going down from the top
Yeah.
if you were doing this digitally anyway. Or you could just like sketch with your pencil and lighten as you go.
Mm-hmm. Completely covers up, but like just the idea you can separate different colors to push the, foreground, midground, background.
Totally.
Yeah, you could have like the city like blurred.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would just build up a few taller buildings and just block off the bulk majority of the rest of the village.
CBC's idea is a really good one. Yeah, you can have it fade if you have sort of like a blue night sky or something. Have the horizon and the city kind of fade into into the sky color a little bit, just to sort of help it. Again, this is if you color it. That'll help it sort of see this is distant. I mean, it's sort of something you do in landscape painting or drawing. If you've got like a mountain in the distance, or you're drawing like forests and hills and stuff that are stretching way into the horizon, you don't want it to be the same color. You'll have it fade to the sky color, or at least like towards it, because then it gives you the idea of distance. Because in real life we got lots of atmosphere in the way of us and that stuff now, so it's carrying all the stuff that makes the sky blue, so everything else is getting kind of blue as well.
Yeah. And like in the same vein, zombie apocalypse, what if there's like red fire burning explosion smog? Smog
You could
could
have like
envelop
mist.
the city.
Mist.
Yeah.
Smoke.
I'm bad at drawing mist, but there we go.
Lots of options. Play with them, do what you will, feel it's right, have fun with it. That's the most important part.
All right.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to the last one that's submitted? Stratojohn Shadowkick. If you have pictures that you're looking for critique, submit them to us. It says it twice in our stream. Feel free to submit the pictures.
CPC got to it and made all the magic.
She helped me, but I did the palm of the hand here.
So, this picture is by The Art of Doing Science. They are one of the people who critique everything on our sub. It's great. We love it. We love them.
Love
And I
it.
remember they submitted the sketch too.
So let's
Dig the color.
dig it. Oh my god, so good.
Yeah. And the
Please
hair,
excuse our
the hair
graffiti.
and the colors, like the way it glows against the shirt, just I love it. I really do love that aspect.
So this is sci-fi, or is it like a human version of like Equestria Twilight? I'm not really sure.
I think
But
it's
either way,
sci-fi,
it's
because Twilight doesn't wear glasses.
Oh yes, that is a good point. That is her glues.
Wahaha. Investigation.
I do like that sort of magic hands. It's very cool. I mean, she has that power in the movies, doesn't she? It's a really good way that you've interpreted it. You can really see it sort of like
nice.
emerging from the hands and flowing like fire. It's
Yeah.
really cool.
Really nice force perspective too. Like
Oh
it's
yeah,
a very green perspective, and it
yeah.
kind of works.
It balances so well between the tiny hand back there and the huge hand,
Mhm.
which is the first center point of the image.
Yeah.
That's like where you look first, is that hand.
And it doesn't feel wrong. Like I really feel like I'm sort of like a fisheye lens, kind of like something that
Mm.
would really make the you know the
Yeah,
eye.
yeah, it definitely looks like it's through a
Space
certain kind of
between.
lens.
Yeah.
But it does work. It's really cool.
Now, is there anything to be
Are there
nitpicky
are there
about?
any specific questions they put?
Nope.
Or-
Just looking for a
Okay.
critique. So it looks like 2 months ago they did get critique on this from ArtCrit, the subreddit. Creep in their profile to get what information I can. They got a whole lot of information. So since then they've darkened up the entire picture. They've refined a bunch of the lines and that. It's looking good.
I'm not sure. That goes off PG rating. I'm not really sure like what else there is to nitpick. I mean, like the hair looks absolutely amazing. We've got these layers and they're all floating, like they're just being thrown about with the wind, and that's absolutely perfect. I love that the glasses are coming off, but they're not just like flying in a random direction. It almost looks like they're sort of levitating off her face.
Mm-hmm.
That's really really cool. And like we like the pose, like how you've interpreted the magic. I'm not really sure there's much else. Anything
I think,
that's
oh,
yeah.
sorry. I have like one nitpick. I'd say the eyes could be approached differently because.
Oh, that's exactly what I was gonna say. We're in the same
It feels
boat.
flat. Because of the glow. It's
It
like
looks
the
because
cheek there.
yeah, because this is the lighter. My blue is gone. But since this is the lighter color here, my brain worked out that these are like the parts of her eyes, and she's looking forward. But I had to sort of look at it and analyze. Oh, there's her pupils. I mean, you could do it so like the pupils are the thing that's glowing and giving off that light, and sort of work out from there. Even have a sort of swish to the light. Go away, my motorcycle. But it's because I think a lot of it's kind of drowned out by this blue, and the other thing about it is this is also kind of nice in a way, so it might be intentional, but it's very contrasting against the red you got of the magenta magic around her hand, and you got like so you got this super warm color, and then this super cool color, and then you got like it floating around here as well. But her magic is like magenta, so like I don't know what these are, whether they're like wisps or something. But like if that is her magic, then it kind of would make sense if it was pink as well. The same goes for like her eyes, maybe. But I mean, her eyes are okay to have like a white glow, but like maybe just a little bit less because it is very intense and overpowering.
Mm-hmm.
Like for the suggestion I have, I'm just drawing over this to get like the color back, but I would have a little bit more of a hard edge where the cheeks end, because if you look at, let me just color pick again. If you look at the human face, the cheeks do protrude a lot, and depending on the face, of course, it's different levels of how sharp they are. But something. Oh, I'm on watercolor. That won't work. No, give me back my brush settings.
Yeah, oh, mine are going crazy. I'm trying to. Wait, did it not let me color pick? I have like a little bit of a shine here. Oh, I'm on a layer underneath Ali's, that's why.
And like something you can do is like have that harsh line, and like I didn't define it really well, but you can. But then go over it with like an even lighter. Damn it, I keep choosing the wrong.
This is such a difficult thing.
Yeah. Have like a softer glow, so like you define the eye socket and where the shadows would happen, but you still have it glowing further.
Yeah.
Instead of it all just being a very harsh, hard glow.
Yeah. After that, I honestly think you're done with this. I think just sort of let it be finished. It sounds like
Yeah.
you've worked very, very hard on it. It looks like you've worked very, very hard on it. So good job with that.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Looks like Shadow Kick has some art for us. So let me just get that stuff put on here. Horses, horses, little horses. Little horse, 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 horse.
So many horses of a tiny variety.
One man has all these horses.
A horse, of course.
All right, let's talk about this horse. So,
Fire!
Shadow Kick's question or comment or words are, okay, I have two questions with this one. First, her hind legs. They're a little long, but the hawk also feels badly positioned. Second, I have a big empty white space on one side of the turret, and I don't know how to fill it up. All right, I got answers for you on some of this. Looks like the legs are being corrected by Zai. So I'm going to talk about what to put on the back. If you want it to look like a tank instead of just a turret, draw the tank in. They got like, those big oil drums shoved on the back, like some of the old World War II tanks where they're carrying their fuel around. Taper off towards the back. Whatever, it's a ship? Like a... Oh!
So like on a battleship. Okay.
We need context then. What hangs along the deck of a ship? Well, you got the railing going. Boop, 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 boop. You can have the pile of shells.
Yeah. You could look up, you could get references of battleships and the things you could do is detail the turret to look more like a mechanical thing. Like right now it's very simplistic. So the next step would be add in the detail because there's a lot of context missing. You just see a box with a cannon. See, because like earlier we didn't know if it was a tank or a...
Yeah, it's only because she's saying fire that, like, my first thought was she's standing on a roof going, look, there's a fire.
Context.
Yeah, so a little bit more to sort of tell that story can really go a long way.
And like, as for the hawk, there's a few ways to break down either like more horse-like or more MLP-like. MLP tends to have more what Zai's doing here, like it comes more out. And let me use some more brush. You do the whole like, here's leg, make like a little hip there. And MLP does more MLP leg.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
also...
we as artists usually tend to do it a lot higher than they do it in the show.
Mm-hmm.
And especially in the movie, they have it much lower, I think.
Yeah, and the way I know I prefer is kind of going more horse-like, just because I like the way it feels. So like, here's my hip, and then I'll have the joint for the hawk, and then the leg, just because I like that separation. I make it look off the leg, but yeah, I like that separation.
Yeah, however you want to do it, you can sort of balance between these, and that's fine.
Yeah.
It's all sort of different interpretations of it. I do think sort of spreading the legs out, it kind of doesn't look right that the frontmost back leg is facing forward. Like, it's kind of an awkward pose. It doesn't really look like clear what she's doing. Whereas to put it backwards like this is in a much more commanding position. She's got a very confident hold on her standing position. She's not going to be blasted back by any kind of shockwave from the cannon fire now. And she's, it's just kind of a more actiony sort of pose. Where she's really got her stride into this position. The way she's standing, it's sort of a lot more obvious now. The sort of confidence in the pose. The other legs I'm not really sure about. They are not very perfect because I am usually kind of bad at legs. I just sort of did what you already had in there, just refined it a little bit. I think this front leg could be brought forward a little bit more as well, just to match. So otherwise it's not, because you don't want it to go in exactly the same position as the back leg, so since I moved the back leg, then they would be like parallel, and that doesn't really look right, and it looks like she'd fall over. So front leg forward a little bit for balance, and then I just sort of lowered the shoulder of this front, the back front leg, the one behind her, because that would then sort of matches the shoulder a little bit. Otherwise, I do like that she's sort of leaned into the pose. It looks really good. I think it just sort of looks a lot better with the leg pulled back and forward a little bit.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for me with the original leg pose was it didn't feel balanced at all, especially since she's on a ship. So like, you're gonna want to be as stable as you can be on a ship, especially if you're on the turret on a ship.
Yeah,
that's gonna
which
rock.
is exactly designed is standing on, probably. I don't know how they work, but
So that's
Um,
just keep in mind.
yeah. Also, how did she get up here? Is there maybe a ladder on the side of the turret or something?
Oh
Who
yeah,
knows?
add some more
More
context to the story,
details.
like.
Yeah. Get your mecha on, like look up all tech stuff and look at little details you can add to shape. I mean, this is a good like basic overall shape, and it's good to sort of just define if what you're doing was just to define here is the turret, just so you get the idea of it, and then that's a good first step to do. But then take that further and then look at ways that you could just play with the shapes, break them up, make them look more techy.
Yeah, I agree.
Research, references, the whole spiel we give every week.
Any other questions for us, Shadowkick?
You are most welcome, Shadowkick. I hope that it helps.
Shadowjaw, you got anything for us?
They said they'd be away. So.
Anyone else got any art for us?
Arty time.
Submit your art if you want to be critiqued.
And if you don't want to be critiqued, just tell Allie Claw how much you love her.
Whoa. Whoa. What about you, Zom Zom? What about you?
It's sort of a mutual fear.
That describes it perfectly.
I guess we did end up speedrunning today. There you go, Fluffy.
Because they're gonna go to bed soon. I mean, the picture on the left is highly appropriate of me.
I love how everyone's adding piercings to Fluffy's sleeve.
Yeah, I noticed that. What has happened there? I never do that.
That's my contribution.
Also, I love that since someone drew the tank shape in, and now it looks like my pony, or this sort of half complete pony here is just like looking out over the barrel of his tank, but just like really tired. Like he doesn't quite know where he is.
We got one from Anano Pony. Anano. Tell them to get into voice chat.
Ananpone?
Ananpone, get your face into voice chat. Except your face wouldn't get in there, it's your voice that would.
Oh.
Oh. Did it work?
Oh yeah, it was them. Hello, they are here.
Hello.
Save. Derpa horse.
Can you speak?
Or
are you not going to speak? Yes. Typing is alright too, except now they're hearing us before they see us in the stream, but... Haha. No, why am I getting more piercings? Okay, the bracelets are cute, I like those. But why, no! I'm not a punky pony.
Secret punk life of...
Although I've not drawn his hair on yet, so you don't know it's Spirit Wind. Could be any pony at all. Oh no! Did you see?
No! Sabotage!
Why did I let her know how to draw my OC?
Because that's how we...
Oh, except he has like more sort of down hair now, I guess.
Mohawk.
Hair.
Needs a mohawk.
Help!
'Cause needs a body.
Don't remember.
Since Fluffy's getting piercings, I think this little mouse needs some piercings.
Alright, Anano Pony. You got questions for us? More detail to the main entail. You know what? I'm gonna do this. I'm gonna link my favorite thing to link for this. I just have to go to reddit.com/MLP Drawing School. Then we pay the $19.95 entrance fee. And we go to exterior guides and tutorials. We scroll on down to hair. And then we find Yokowaha's picture.
Vlad.
And we submit it to you. And we go, use that. Just steal their stuff. Shamelessly steal it.
Steal all the stuff.
Now, there's also ways to, like, if you're not looking for how to make hair more detailed painterly wise, there's also ways to use lines to make your hairs more detailed. Like adding more strands. Here, let me just. Okay, we got our circle. There's a pony face. And hey, pony face, you got an eye and another eye. And sure, you got that muzzle thing going on. Pony.
Have a muzzle?
You have a muzzle, beard. So, let me get to a different color now. Oh, did that adding any other here? Of course. So, there's different things you can do now. This is like, say it's a sketch phase. You treat these strands of hair coming out, you know. You have... it's all being fluffed. You just kind of think about hair and how it is, what it is, and how it works. There's hair in clumps, right? Usually the first thing people get told when they should draw or paint hair is think of it as clumps, because you don't see hair for each individual hair, you see it for how it groups together. So that's something important to remember, and something to keep in mind for that. Like I drew here with this like small red line, the different like ways you can kind of separate the clumps so they're not like all just big chunks. Like if we go back to your derpy over here, you can go through and add like more detailed lines, and maybe at the top you have little things coming up because the hair separates because of the curve of the hair, and different parts where it fluffs up. And like same with back here, there doesn't have to be straight lines. You can have lines curling. There can be action happening with the hair, how it curves around. It doesn't have to just be like half a moon shape perfectly. Little stuff like that, like the little details, they all really add up.
And definitely adding dinky on the wings. Top tier.
Yes.
So the question to the other ear being hidden by the mane, not quite with the height your ear is. Based on this picture that I have drawn next to it, we have both ears. Why do we draw through the objects? Because this is the reason. Because stuff gets forgotten. Stuff gets missed when we don't draw the entire picture. There's a hilarious picture that passed around a long time ago of an anime girl and her arm. Like they drew out how her arm would be, and basically it went like 4 times the length of her body past the side if it was going to work for the picture. Is the front right leg, so the one that's up in the air. I think you should drop it. Drop it down.
Yeah.
And then we go up if you want.
You kind
Exactly.
of lost the first joint for that leg, because if you look at this leg, you got and we have no elbow. I like to consider this the elbow.
Yeah.
And the elbow is like where the shoulder connects.
That all makes sense? I would like to point out some great things. Your shading looks awesome. Your tail isn't being pooped out. Your wings look great. You should probably consider a second one.
Actually, I started drawing that, but behind this little CPC drawing, you can see
Ah,
we just sort of have some of the feathers poking out.
Yep.
Just to emphasize that it's there.
What? Yes, those. Oh, and it's derpy, so that's extra bonus points.
I am resident derpy expert.
It's true.
Because she is the cutest.
Yeah,
And
What?
the most important critique
Is
say,
that there needs to be a
CPC.
spirit wind swooning over her.
She needs to be fluffed. CPC's got a fluffer. There she goes. She's on it. All the fluff. But really, no. It's some nice work here.
Keep it up.
I really like the eyes. Though I would be careful with how much yellow you put there, because she looks like she has a little bit, like, sickness in her eyes.
Maybe she's just hanging around at the sunset, but only where her eyes are. Or has liver failure.
Oh my god, no! Don't you dare, Zom. That's terrible.
No.
Well, she lives in the Fallout Equestria world, so...
Like,
What?
I'm all for not having pure white eyes.
There's an
don't get me
question.
wrong. But yeah, too much color and eyes tend to go. His eyes only have so much color in them, or the whites of the eyes.
Definitely abuse keeping more white in those eyes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, I drew the white in, by the way.
Eyes
She's
trying to
fluttering
do
my
that.
heart since I draw them.
Any further questions? Oh, the not just the highlights. So everything over here, this stuff you've all left as a yellowish color. Just crank that stuff over to white. Brrr.
Hmm.
Like
I
I said,
suppose
doesn't need to
it
be
was made
pure
worse
white.
because I drew the highlights and that made it like it contrast.
Super pop, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
that's the thing. Like, usually really bright shining lights are practically pure white. Like, these highlights we see,
Mhm.
they're very close to pure white. So having the eyes not totally pure white does really help with the shine aspect. And plus, when you
Yeah.
shade and shadow and shine the eyes themselves, it's nice to have a little contrast. But it's really easy, I think, to go too far with eyes because a lot of the times when someone's sick, some of the things you look for are the eyes being discolored. So
Mm.
that's why, and the thing about pictures is you are drawn to the eyes. You are drawn to looking at the eyes because as humans,
Yeah.
we're supposed
Especially
to
you
make
have pretty sunny eyes.
yes.
Yeah. CPC Dumbo mouse. That's adorable.
Aw.
But yes. It's very much what I said. Although I'll reiterate what they said in the chat that the yellowish sort of tone was because of the sort of like a gradient overlay they did for like the sun, but to put some warmth in there from the sunlight, and that's all right. I mean, I do that as well. I tend to do it with overlay layers because then that it has a really nice balance between sort of like coloring what's already there and not like darkening the whites too much. But it's sort of about finding the right color. I couple it with screen, so I actually have a whole folder for overlays, which I've now started putting my highlights into, as well. And then I'll have the overlays on top of that. And I'll do what I do is I have a routine now that I've been doing for the last couple of weeks. I'll do an overlay, get like an orange, and I'll do that over the top, kind of soft, not going too strongly, and then I'll do a screen layer of that, and then that sort of helps to cut because the overlay won't really do the blacks. They'll leave the blacks and the whites alone. And then the screen layer helps to sort of take out those shadows as well and helps the line art and everything look nice with the coloring as well. And then I'll do like a multiply or something for like the shadows on the other side. So you have like a lighter color on top for like the warmth and sun stuff, and a darker one on the bottom. And it can look really nice and really balanced. Helps flesh out the colors a bit. They could be more derp. It's
yeah, they really
yeah,
like that derp.
it's almost not noticed. It looks normal. They look like, and she can have her eyes in the same position. It's just like I imagine it being kind of uncomfortable for her. So it'd be sort of more strongly this way, or have this one on top since that's sort of like the main looking focused. Yeah, that's usually the one that's going upwards anyway. So then have this one down. I mean, I drew a picture recently where they just like doing the eyes crossed wasn't working, so I drew them. She was sort of like snuggling another bony, and as I drew the eyes like in the same position, and it's not a crime to do that, but it worked better for the picture. So if it's working better for this one, then by all means.
No problemo. I'm glad we could be helpful.
Yes, I hope that you have fun continuing to draw this amazing best pony.
Anyone else have any art they'd like critiqued?
Last call, and I think we'll be done.
So then Fluffy's eye can go to sleep, Zai.
Yeah, so I gotta go up for once tomorrow.
Wait, you don't usually wake up? How are you here?
I not in the morning.
This is actually Fluffy's dream right now. They haven't woken up yet.
This is like Eternal Sonata. We're all in my dream. Yeah, it's crazy. I don't like it ends at like 2, and like that's when I normally wake up. Also, for some reason that this like sketch of the hair here, because of like the red and white, just reminds me of what's his face in My Hero Academia.
Yeah.
I see hot.
I can't see it. I can't unsee it.
Yeah. Shoto.
All right, well, seeing as we have no additional art being tossed at us, we're going to call this the day. Thank you all for joining us, and we'll see you again next week.
Yay! Bye-bye.
See you next week. Have fun drawing the ponies.
Little horses.
Pony on.
Wow.